With E3 2017 over, Nintendo's presentation revealed something very interesting about the future of the Nintendo 3DS. Is the Nintendo 3DS dead? Well, it might be. Hey guys, my name is Elijah, and today on Rocket Sloth, we are looking at some clues about the lifespan of the 3DS and what we might see from the 3DS in the future. Let's get into it. The new Nintendo E3 2017 conference seemed to be lacking on the 3DS front more than any year since its release. Typically, at E3, Nintendo has a track record of announcing more handheld games than their home console games. So what gives with the 3DS not being a part of the main presentation and only seeing 2 game announcements after the main E3 conference? I believe that Nintendo is planning on sunsetting the 3DS console. I mean, it was a great console, it still is a great console. The eShop might be a little bit overpriced, but overall it's a great console. The 3DS isn't dead yet, but I strongly believe the 3DS is coming to an end towards the middle of 2018, maybe just before the holiday season. It's going to be ending its production life. If you look at the game announcements they did make at E3, nothing got announced outside of this coming holiday season. And if they were to continue the 3DS for longer than one more year, wouldn't they have announced something more down the road? I mean, Nintendo announced Metroid and a new Pokemon game for long-term down the road for the Switch, but we didn't see any big announcements for the 3DS outside of what we're seeing this holiday season. Okay, and there are a few counter-arguments. We do have a new 2DS XL coming out this July, and Reggie and me did state that Nintendo plans on supporting the 3DS line of consoles through 2018 and beyond, but that statement mimics exactly what Nintendo said about the Wii U last year when they announced the NX. They said they plan on supporting the Wii U all the way through the end of 2016 and all through 2017 and beyond, and they've ended production on the Wii U. So it's just a way to say that your investment isn't invalid, but your investment is kind of invalid. And with the new 2DS XL coming out, Nintendo has a track record of releasing a last-minute version of their consoles before they end production. It isn't necessarily a bad thing, it's just a thing they do. Anyone remember the Game Boy Micro? It actually came out after the first Nintendo DS came out, and it was just kind of to have that last console that anyone wanted to buy so that they could play the older games. They also released a Wii Mini right before they wrapped up production on the Wii. On top of that, Pokemon has always been the biggest handheld console mover. Pokemon Red and Blue were the second best-selling games on the Game Boy, Ruby and Sapphire were the best-selling games on the Game Boy Advance, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were the 4th best-selling games on the DS, and X and Y and Sun and Moon were both the best and second best-selling games on the 3DS. If Nintendo truly wanted to continue supporting the 3DS outside of this next year, I believe that Nintendo would not ever move the main Pokemon series to a home console. But Nintendo went ahead and announced that the next main Pokemon games after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are going to be on the Nintendo Switch. Now, of course, all of this news doesn't mean you shouldn't pick up a 3DS. The 3DS is still a great console, and there's still a couple more games coming out this year. We got the new Metroid, we got some Mario stuff, and we got the new Pokemon games. But now would actually be the best time to buy a 3DS because of all the games that are already out on the console. There's a bunch of good classic game remakes like Zelda Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Star Fox 64. They made some great games like Animal Crossing, New Super Mario Bros. 2, and a ton of other games that were great. And of course, the Pokemon, the Kirbys, and the Yoshis, they're all on there. Now's the great time to buy the console. And if you're on the fence, because the console's dying and you think the prices are going to go down, Nintendo games that are like main titles, like characters you would see in Smash Bros, typically the games don't go down in price too much after time goes on. Sometimes the games actually go up in price, so I would say buy the games now while you can, and not wait until they stop production on the games. And for Switch owners, this is actually great news because it means Nintendo is going to be focusing on making all of their IPs the best quality that they can make. I strongly believe that having a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch is going to be revolutionary for the Nintendo franchise because of how good the hardware of the Nintendo Switch is. They won't be limited to what the 3DS can perform and how it can perform. They're going to be able to make a bunch of good quality HD games on the Switch. And for people who aren't a fan of home consoles, this hasn't been announced, but I'm calling this now. I think Nintendo is going to release some sort of version of the Nintendo Switch next year, towards holiday season of next year, that's going to have a lower price tag. It might not have like a dock where you can play it on a TV. You might have to buy that separate. If that would cut the cost by like $50, I think some people would buy it. Or even if there was a handheld only version of the Nintendo Switch, I think some people would buy that if it was a little bit cheaper for people who don't necessarily care about playing on a TV screen. I actually wasn't sure how I would play my Switch, but after having my Switch for a couple of months, I actually play it more on handheld than anything else. The dock is nice and I'm glad I have it, but for the most part I don't use it. I just play handheld. Remember guys, Nintendo moving forward, ending production, and focusing in on one thing's good for Nintendo fans everywhere, because it means we're going to get higher quality stuff. It means there's going to be better brand commitment and trust, and overall, I'm okay with this. It's sad to see any console die off because of the awesome memories we have with it, but I do believe the 3DS is wrapping up. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Feel free to disagree with me. I read every single one of my comments, and I'm down to have an open discussion. You guys are probably gonna hate me for this video, but whatever. But that's it for today, guys. Leave a comment down below. And while this video may be over, we make new top lists, daily discussions, and gaming news videos published here on your new #1 source for all things gaming, Rocket Sloth. So be sure to subscribe if you're new, because you'd be cool. Alright.